Who do you think should be the Saints starting quarterback? Right now, we are sitting at 1-6, and Spencer Rattler has only one win under his belt as a starter in the National Football League. Do the Saints need to make a change at quarterback? Get in the comment section. Type Spencer Rattler, type Tyler Shuck. Let's break it on down. Thank you for tuning into our late night edition of Saints Now by Chat Sports. Could some major changes be coming to the roster? No mystery. This was going to be a long year. This was going to be a tough one, and it wasn't going to lead to a lot of wins. We all knew that going into this season. We also all knew that the New Orleans Saints were not going to be a fun team to watch. We knew there was going to be some fight. We knew there was going to be some changes, and we knew there was going to be growing pains. And here we are. Week 7 is in the books. You're sitting at 1-6. The only win you have is over the Giants. And I'm not going to say the vibes are bad, but they're not great. They're just simply not. So we're going to start off this conversation first by talking quarterback, and then we're going to talk about wide receiver, give you an update on Chris Olave. We have some new information around potentially trading him or keeping him. We're going to break that down. Then we're going to talk about the defense as well. So let's start quarterback first. I don't hate Spencer Rattler. I am not a Rattler hater. I am not somebody who has an agenda. I am simply a fan who's tired of watching losses and almost wins. Fed up. I'm over it. At a certain point, you don't get change without making change. Last year, the Saints, in the offseason, made a lot of change. Even in the regular season, they made a coaching change. And we are now sitting at a point where I think a quarterback change might be necessary. The Saints drafted Tyler Shuck with the 40th overall selection. What I'm going to tell you right now is I will not apologize for wanting to see a quarterback that was taken with a top 50 pick play. Doesn't matter if it's Tyler Shuck. Doesn't matter if it's Shador, Dart, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Arch Manning, Garrett Nussmeier, Lenora Sales. This conversation has nothing to do with the individual. Has everything to do with the situation. If Kellen Moore believed in Tyler Shuck to make him a 40th overall pick, I would like to see why he believed in him. I would like to see that on display. I would like to see Tyler Shuck take the field at some point, sooner rather than later. Not saying that Spencer Rattler has been the problem, but it is abundantly clear he is not the solution. I don't think that he is going to be the franchise guy. And it's not that I hate this player. I've actually been rooting for him like crazy. But at a certain point, you have to answer the question, when do you think you've seen Spencer Rattler? When do you feel like you know what he is as a player? And I feel like we are teetering very, very close to that. And I'm not sitting here saying that he's been bad. He hasn't. But he hasn't been great. And I will not apologize for wanting great. I don't want to settle for good. I don't want to settle for mediocre. I don't want to settle for good enough. I don't want to settle for all right. I want great. Maybe I grew up in the wrong era of Saints football. Maybe I was spoiled by being introduced to Saints football with Drew Brees. So sorry that my parents didn't screw sooner and I got born when I was. That being said, the New Orleans Saints need to be better on the offensive side of the football as a whole, but especially at the quarterback position. Now, something to consider. We don't necessarily know the severity of Eric McCoy's injury. We do know that it is a bicep injury, and we do know that Kellen Moore has said that it is something that's concerning. Don't know if he's going to miss serious time. So if Eric McCoy is out for a considerable amount of time, do you trust Luke Fortner to be your center and to protect your quarterback? So that's something to consider too. Spencer Rattler is going to have a worse offensive line now. You throw Tyler Shuck in there, you might suffer because it's not Eric McCoy. Cesar Ruiz even said that it's a big hit because he does a lot for the team. And everyone roots for Eric McCoy. Everyone likes Eric McCoy. The conversation around the quarterback position is one that should not be a fan base splitting discussion. It should be a conversation that just emphasizes how important it is to have good and great quarterback play. If we had Jameis around still, if we had Andy Dalton around still, if we would have drafted Shador, if we still had Drew Brees, for the love of God, if Derek Carr was still the quarterback, Trevor Siemian, Taysom Hill, this is not a conversation about specific quarterback. This is a conversation about the Saints offense finally accepting that mediocrity is not the goal and striving and shooting for success. Kellen Moore at no point today thought or considered putting Tyler Shuck in. That's fine. That's totally fine. I'm not going to sit here and say you need to go out at halftime. But guys, the Saints offense had less than 10 yards up until that last drive when Spencer Rattler drove him down the field and scored a touchdown. Want to take nothing away from that. Credit to Spencer Rattler. Great play. Great situation there. He played really, really nice football, responded well to adversity. However, it just was a lot of empty games. It was a lot of empty numbers. It just felt like it was not a great week for Spencer Rattler. And I'm not saying that this one bad week is the reason you should bench him, but I do think it would make some sense to start getting Tyler Shuck a little bit warmed up. Just a tad bit. I want to talk Chris Olave because we have an update around a trade for him. Diana Rossini added some context, and then Chris Olave has now spoken about that report from Diana Rossini. First things first, though. Want to get you guys this awesome shirt. It's on sale today and today only. Only a few more hours left on this sale. Chatsports.com/AK shirt. It's $10 off if you click the link in the comments or description, or you just search chatsports.com/AK shirt in your URL bar or your search bar, whatever it's called. Just type it up there, click the link in the comments or description, and you can get yourself this awesome shirt. He doesn't want to go anywhere. He's a Saint for life. And for that reason, I think that you should get this shirt because the lifetime and the shelf life will never expire. Chatsports.com/AK shirt. Get it $10 off. So Chris Olave, let me make something abundantly clear here. I am so glad that we finally got to see the number 12 that we've known and loved. Like, this was Chris Olave. This was the player that we drafted. This was the guy that was coming out of Ohio State. This is the player that you traded up to go and get. And there was a report coming out over the weekend. Fun fact, this was this was Chris Olave's first multi-touchdown game in his career, which is crazy to think. I don't know how that's even possible. Also has a new career long today, 58-yard catch. Shout out to Olave. It's interesting, because he's been the center of a lot of trade rumors, and he's now starting to turn things around a little bit. And Diana Rossini, originally the report, was that the Saints, rather than actually trading him, have been actually working on an extension for Chris Olave. And here is his response. Shout out to Catherine Terrell for sharing this on X. Chris Olave on the report by The Athletic on a potential extension. Quote, "We have been having conversations since the beginning of the year." I'm not going to sit here and say that Chris Olave deserves $30+ million a year. But if he's willing to take a little bit of a hometown discount, I think that would be exceptional. I think it would be awesome. And, of course, I'm not going to sit here and beg the guy to do that. If he wants to go and cash in elsewhere, he wants to go play elsewhere and try out, sure, man, I cannot blame him. But he's been on the record back in June or July. He was on record saying he loves New Orleans. He wants to be here forever. So for that reason, I have some reason to believe that he may want to take a hometown discount. He may want to stick around. And I think when you consider the inconsistent play this year, it drops the price tag a little bit. But with the upside, you can still give him a respectable contract. I do believe there's a world where you can keep Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, and it all works out. You just got to find a way to get there. A couple people are going to have to make a little bit less money, and you're going to have to make some decisions around that. So in terms of Chris Olave, I guess if you want to keep him, good news. If you don't, then maybe some bad news. But the trade deadline is less than a month away. We're that much closer. We'll see what happens as we continue to get closer and closer to the trade deadline. But reports out there right now that they have been in the works. Extensions have been in the works, and Chris Olave did confirm that, saying they've been talking about it since the beginning of the year. So there you have it. That's the latest around the trade rumors for Olave. But defensively, I want to just take a quick second. There were a few bright spots today in the loss. It was a lot of doom and gloom, really frustrating game. I understand it. Few positives, though, from this matchup. One, Danny Stutzman outperformed Pete Werner. Had a great day. Like I want to give a lot of credit to Danny Stutzman today. I'm going to pull up the box score right here just so we can make sure we have the information correct. Defensively, Danny Stutzman, where is it? Danny Stutzman, 6 tackles. There it is. He had 6 tackles on the day, which, not amazing, but he's somebody who his snap count has been increasing more and more and more. Fun fact, Danny Stutzman tied for 3rd highest tackle production on the day. Pete Werner, on the other hand, only 2 tackles. So that's a big win. Got to give a lot of credit to Stutz. Quincy Riley got another interception. Awesome. You got to see him make a play. I really, really think the Saints got a great draft pick in Quincy Riley. We have the Cowboys-Commanders game on in the TV. Marshawn Lattimore is bad. Saints made a great decision there. And with one of those picks, or with both those picks, you get Jonas Sanker and Quincy Riley, who have already logged turnovers. Quincy Riley's logged a forced fumble and an interception at this point. Jonas Sanker has an interception. I got to say, shout out to the rookie. Shout out to the young guys because they are making a huge impact. I do think that this is a draft class that will be a big reason we see the Saints turn things around in a few years. So that's got to give a lot of credit there. And then another win. Like I said, Chris Olave, first multi-touchdown game of his career. It's shocking to say that. It's shocking that that's true. But here we are. And then when you talk about Chase Young, he also got back on the field and started making an impact. Multiple passes batted down, couple tackles, half a sack. He was making plays all over the field. And I know the stats aren't going to jump off the screen at you, and you're not going to be like, oh my God, he just filled out the stat sheet. No, he didn't. But he made a huge impact all throughout the game. And he was spending a lot of time in the backfield. So for Chase Young, stop ripping jerseys, stop pulling on the undershirt, bring that ass to the ground, get the damn sack, and let's start making more plays. All in all, not the best game in the whole wide world. Really upset with how things kind of panned out today. But I do think that you're starting to see the tides turn. You're starting to see Kellen Moore's team take over, and you're starting to see more and more from the youth, which I think is a good thing, and that's where the New Orleans Saints need to focus mostly. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to our late-night edition of Saints Now by Chat Sports. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We have the Bucks coming up. This upcoming week will be live Monday, tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m. Central Time. We'll have content tomorrow morning. We'll be live Thursday. We got all sorts of great stuff coming out. Fun fact, sneak peek into the future, we're doing a mock draft tomorrow. So if you hang out, let me know who you want me to draft in the first round. And y'all stay golden. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next time.